Okay, just took a little time to do some cleanup around here and get ready for the next phase, which is going to be this hood. The first thing I have to do is, and I've already started this, is to cut away some of the work I've already done, which it was a little bit put together quickly just so I could establish the arcs of the fenders, where the nose was going to land, and things like that. But ultimately it was not up to snuff, so I had to cut a lot of stuff out, and I'm going to have to continue to cut stuff out here. The center has to be cleared. You can see this is where the air cleaner is. Well, I want to basically open that up because it's going to have a power bulge hood, and I want to open it up in case future owner wants to put, a Hellcat or something with a supercharger on it, and it'll need that extra space under the hood. So I have to do a lot of work to the substructure before I can even get started on the skin. I have to establish the latch and things like that. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, it's time to start messing around with the hood latch, and so I installed it under here, and this is the catch that goes to the hood. So what I've done here is I've got a couple of these capture T-nuts, and I've got it through bolted from the bottom side with a washer and a bolt, and so now this is in place and it's latched. So what I'll do now is I'll drop the hood, its frame down, and I can see this, and I'll have to connect that to this frame here, and then that'll be attached. One of the advantages of using these radiator core supports, in other words, I got two of them here. This is normally where the Challenger would mount, way up here. You can see this little indention. So the second one's stacked out but lower, in line with my grill setup, and it just bolts up. It's in a proper location. There's mounting slots and everything for the cable, so everything's good to go. Just everything's snapped into place here now, and I'll just have to get this connected to the subframe here, and I'll have a latch for the hood that's operable. So this is how it's attached now. I just took some 3/4 inch tubing and extended it down to the tops of the T-nuts, the capture nuts, and welded everything up. And now it's bolted back. This catch is bolted securely to the frame. I'll do some things to make it look more decorative later on when I have this upside down and on the bench, but for now I'm just getting it to latch so that I have the hood secure in its location as far as the subframe is concerned before I start working on the skins. I don't want it moving around or shuffling or dropping down or raising up, so this will set it. I already have the hard stobs over here adjusted up, and now I just needed a counter force against that to hold it down against those stobs so that it'll be nice and secure. So the hood's latched now, and I just want to show you how the hood releases just like any other car. Just I got to use the hood release underneath the dash, so let me just go do that. That's pretty much it. So in the you got to do something before you do something else department, kind of got to lay out this top bulge before I could figure out what kind of substructure I need and where that's all going to land. So I laid out a couple of pieces of sheet metal over top. I got this pictured as a reference. It's a 3/4 view, so I'm having to try and cipher out the difference from a perspective drawing, which is a little tough, but I'm going to give it the best shot, and we'll get this laid out, and then it'll tell me where the substructure has to be altered before I can start working on other parts of the substructure, and then eventually the skin. Okay, so I've made most of the substructure for this hood out of 063 1/2 by 1.5 stock, and this section here that's going to be supporting the hood bulge, the power bulge. It has to go in two directions. It has to arc over the top, and it has to swing around in a sweep in this direction. So I don't really have a roller that I could use to roll that stock in those two directions. It could be done, but I don't have the equipment. So what I've done is I had some 063 material, and I just bent it in a 90. This way I was able to shrink and stretch it to achieve that shape. What will have to happen is I'll have to make an accompanying piece for the bottom side to complete it so that it looks like the rest of the substructure. But I just wanted to show you that while I was piecing it together. I just wanted to show you also, I got the 063 sheet metal. I'm not able to use the stomp shear to cut that stuff. It just won't. It's I think 045 is all it'll cut. Anyway, this is something I bought from Eastwood. It's an inexpensive piece. It's just a handheld saw, and it has a toothed metal cutting blade. You can see right there, and I simply, clamp a stop. In this case, I screwed through it into the bench and clamped it on the end. And that creates something for me to ride against. And you take your time with this. It's not going to be like cutting a piece of plywood. It goes a little slow, but it works just fine. It also, it's a little bit annoying. It throws hot metal chips all over you, so you got to wear some arm protection, hand protection, eye protection. So it's not the most pleasant experience, but in a pinch, if you got to cut some flat sheet metal, I think this will cut up to 3/16 of an inch thick steel. I haven't done anything that thick with it. Like I said, it's not the most pleasant experience, even when you're just doing thin sheet metal. But as an alternative to having access to a longer shear or a shear that that has the capacity to cut this material. I forget what that was. It was a couple $100 or $100 or something like that. But anyway, I got that from Eastwood. It's not a plug. Basically, you can get these saws a number of places. They're all made by the same manufacturer, I guess, and they're labeled or branded from wherever. But just wanted to show you that. That's this material that I'm using, and I'm bending up to make the rest of my substructure here that I don't have. I'm not able to bend the extruded material. Okay, I just want to show you a little progress because I'm not doing a lot of filming because there's a lot of back and forth ciphering and figuring out this and figuring out that. But you can see here how the power bulge is going to run based on this mock-up sheet metal here. And got that one started. This support is done. It's boxed in on both the top and the bottom. And I've also cut and raised the center section and attached this straight edge as a guide so that it flows from the beginning of the hood right here in a nice clean arc up, and it's going to level out at the back here on the top of this hood. So it's kind of hard to visualize, but it'll have slanted sides, very slightly slanted, because there's a couple of inset features right here that need to be somewhat vertical as far as the face is concerned. And then this surface here is going to have to be a sweep around like this and then blend into nothing. But I have to raise this back section also, just as a precaution, because you can see the top of the motor here, and this is just the 5.7. There's the motor covers right here. Just want to get another 1.5 inches perhaps to clear, just in case for the future, so it won't have to come back apart for any reason. Anyway. Okay, so I took the welding blanket out from underneath the the hood here so you can get an idea against a darker background what the frame structures kind of look like. You can see the power bulge area here that's going to be supported by this structure here that's raised up in the center. You see I raised up a bridge over the back there, and so should there be a need for any more clearance, which this is well behind the cover. It doesn't look like it here, but it's behind the engine cover. So if there's a supercharger involved, I think the superchargers are forward a little bit more. But at any rate, it's just going to be sheet metal there. So if it ever had to be cut out for any clearance, it's not going to be cut through structure and that kind of thing. So anyway, this has been back and forth working on this, cutting things out, reestablishing curves. Each time you add something, something's not quite right. You have to keep going back and forth over it and readjusting everything to make everything sweep in properly. These curves here sweep in. This is lined up over here, right about, you can see this little mark here and here. From here to here, that's where the little insets in the hood will be. Let me just see if I can't show you a picture where what the target is here. You can see it's got two insets similar to the original Roadrunner hood for the 71, and so it's got a combination of a power bulge and those two insets with relief grills, and then there's a couple of little sweeps to the side here in the front and the rear to fade it into the power bulge. And so that's the target. Now I have to finish up welding this, and then I have some work to put a layer of sheet metal on the bottom side here. That'll be the sheet metal that'll be actually that the hood will be adhered to when it's finally assembled. So there's another layer that has to go on this as part of the substructure. Also, I want to make the insets active open grill outlets, so that means that I'm going to have to create a guttering situation in there to carry off any water that might get in, but that'll help to exhaust any heat from the engine compartment. As you know, these things run hot, around 210 to 220 degrees is their normal operating temperature. And anyways, that's where this is all at right now, and I'll pick it up in a little bit. Okay, before I can go to the next step, I just painted this up with some weld-through primer on the areas that are going to get covered up by the next layer. Next layer is basically a series of flanges that'll be where the hood skin actually connects to the substructure. And it won't actually connect to this part of the substructure. This will be kind of floating below it. It'll be spaced out by some. I like to use some double stick adhesive. There's spray foams and stuff, expanding foams that you can use. But I don't like the fact that you can't really control those. They pop pretty quick. Sometimes they expand at a rate that is kind of unpredictable. If you've got a street car skin, you kind of know what's going to happen. But if you're making something by hand, you don't want to create a bulge in an area based on the fact that your metal's not rigid enough in an unanticipated situation like that. So I like to just use it's just basically a 3M tape. It's used for putting, you can get this at any automotive store, and you can buy it online also. It's used for putting the medallions and on modern cars these days. You just can't get this. If you got two clean surfaces, if you clean it down with acetone, these two painted surfaces or a slick surface like some clean metal, this stuff is you don't want to put it anywhere you don't want to. If you want to be able to get it off in the future, you don't want to put it there, because I'm telling you, it's murder to get it back off. But that's a good thing. But it just adds a cushion between the skin and the substructure to keep it from rattling. But that's down the road quite a bit here. Right now I'm still doing a little bit of figuring out where I want everything to land. anyway, that's where we're at right now. Alright, so I've started to make the inner panels for the underside of the hood, and pretty tedious process, I should say. Having to fill in each and every one of these holes to try to anticipate what it's supposed to be supporting, where it's supposed to be supporting it. As you can see with the particular brain teaser here for the power bulge, while the power bulge will follow around this line here naturally, the substructure has to get out of the way of where I'm going to have an active grill. Now, that active grill is going to have to be built into the upper skin. So in order for this to work, I have to create sort of an indention in the lower structure for that to work out. So that's what I've gone about doing, and this is where the inner, this grill piece will basically be attached from the inside. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do yet, 100% on that. I've got some kind of a direction of what I want to do to get this to be an active vent. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to wrap this up for this week, and keep digging. Thanks for watching.